must say, I'm in love with the room that you're in right now with all those
Oh,
action figures and the
thank you.
Power Rangers and the Zords.
It's called divorce. This episode of Unloading Meat is not brought to you by someone like Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet. Man, I really wish I had a new wallet, Stefano. Mine's falling apart over here. It's like held together by dreams and duct tape. And it's pretty empty as it is. Man, if I had a company like Ridge sponsoring this show, guys, you wouldn't have to hear these horrible fake ads. So if you want to make that happen, reach out to your favorite company like Ridge and tell them to sponsor the show, Unloading Meat. Anyway, back to the show. All right, guys, my next guest is my favorite comedian from Anthony, Kansas. No coincidence that I just found out that there is an Anthony, Kansas, and this is the only comedian I know. Please welcome Dani L. Dani, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. This is fun. I love the difference I can do between both in studio and via the web. I like, the different challenges and the different setups I have to do and stuff like that. So I am eager to have an interview over the web too, especially for somebody that's a ways away.
Right. You're about 3 hours from me.
Yeah. So. Well, thank you for reaching out and seeing the post and everything. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're trying to build something here. So any comedian that needs a spotlight or any help or anything like that, I'm going to be traveling too. So I'd love to, make some friends in the Wichita area.
Yeah. There's actually a pretty good scene in Wichita. I was surprised when I found out about it. I was actually a local acoustic artist for a while. And okay. I went on my friend's open mic, which was a music mic, did some comedy, and that's how I found there's other comedians out there.
Nice. So how long have you been doing this?
Actually not that long. Surprisingly, only about maybe 8 months, 9 months at most.
Okay.
I can't talk right now. Like I grew up watching Jeff Foxworthy, Blue Collar, all the greats, on Comedy Central. And just one night I had a dream, wild hair at my butt, I guess. I'm going to go do stand-up comedy.
It just worked?
Doing it since, yeah.
Nice. Okay, we're back. Well, what happened is your audio started going between my desktop and my audio board, and so I was hearing you twice as an echo. For some reason, so I was trying to shut one down, and then right in the middle of that, my camera was like, "Oh, you don't want to work that one either," and it just closed. Yay!
It's because technology hates me. I told you this.
But we're back now. Everything's good. Yeah, technology fucking hates me too. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I grew up fat. I don't know. It's obesist.
I say it's because I was raised by boomers.
Aren't we all in this area?
Yes.
Most of us. So, getting back to the comedy section before I rudely interrupted with my fucking camera. Who is some of your greatest inspirations for comedy? I always ask that, like who's your favorite comedians? What kind of style would you associate with you as far as like what brings your, what kind of styles developed into Dani L, so to speak? If that makes sense.
I like to say she's kind of a blend of Bill Engvall, Gabriel Iglesias, Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, that's pretty much all that's coming to my mind right now. My mind is going like a million miles an hour at the moment.
We're from Kansas and Oklahoma, so pretty much everybody that had a DVD at Walmart.
Pretty much. Anyone who had a special on Comedy Central or HBO, yeah, those were pretty much my idols growing up.
That's a good list, though. I mean, Gabriel Iglesias, man. I mean, obviously, you could tell I'm a fan. He coined Fluffy, and then I was like, that was my nickname besides Ralphie in high school for like 10 years. So thanks. I mean, before that, it was just Husky because that was the name of my jeans, but at least it's Fluffy's a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, that's a good list. That's a good list to have. I always am fascinated in learning comedians' backstories. I love hearing who inspired them. Because I'm still new to this. I dabbled like 14, 15 years ago, tried a couple open mics, and then some things had some falling outs. And I didn't try again until last year I did an open mic.
I just did one to
Wow.
see if I could try again and see if I still had it. And even though I bombed, I had fun, and I was like, I felt something on stage. And then this was something I worked on for about 2 years, just through COVID and trying to figure out what to do, and built this studio and stuff. And this was on the back burner. And then January this year is when I launched everything, like stand up comedy. I'm just full in comedy this year. So I've only done maybe 10 shows or so this year, but just trying to really push and just not look back. So by no means am I a fucking pro or master or anything like that. Just because I have a fucking podcast doesn't mean shit. It just means
Right.
I'm trying. I'm trying something different. So don't
And
think
nothing wrong with that.
yeah. So like I love this show for being the place to have spotlight of other new comedians and even people that are established. I have people on here that have been doing this for a couple of years. And I love picking their brain and learning their story, what got them into comedy, and one of my favorite things to do with other comedians is just workshop. I love just workshopping jokes and going to open mics and just, working through shit and having fun. So that's kind of where this comes from. I just love picking comedians' brains. And I also love to ramble and talk, as you can tell. That's why I have a mic in my fucking mouth.
Hey, that's what makes a great comedian right there.
Yeah. I will say props to you on as far as I watched, before I get a guest on here, I like to watch some of their footage and kind of get to know them a little bit. I have been watching your YouTube footage and
thank
I
you.
watched your sets. One thing that stood out to me immediately is your stage presence. You have
Really?
great stage presence, the way that you walk around, the way that you handle the mic, the way you were jumping around, like that one that you posted that was like 9 minutes. And like you had to walk around the speaker, like just the way you did, like you're very animated on stage. So like that's something I picked up on immediately. So props to you. That was really good.
And that's what happens when you get someone with ADHD in a car by themselves for 3 hours. They just can't control themselves on stage.
Well, you need to
So
keep that 3-hour drive every time. Come back down to Tulsa or something like that. Because
I plan on it.
works.
I actually
Like,
want to go to Tulsa and Oklahoma City more this year because there's so much to do down there.
yeah,
I love Wichita. I really do. But we need more in Wichita.
yeah. And then, I mean, 15 years ago when I tried this, it was just the loony bin in Tulsa. So when the thing that happened there happened, I was like, oh, there's spots in Tulsa. So like I just gave a comedy for 15 years almost because I didn't think there's anything else. And then last year I was just like, oh shit, there's open mics other than that place in Tulsa. And I'm not disparaging loony bin. I've been back since
Yeah.
there. I had a friend that was doing open mics back then, and basically after like 1 or 2 shows, he would tell you not to come back so you can get more people in and get more time. And I
Right.
didn't know that, so I thought I was banned from the only comedy club in Tulsa. So I just
Wow.
gave up comedy because I thought I was banned, and it had nothing to do with me or the club. It was just him lying to people to get more people in, revolving door.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, and
wow.
it crippled me from comedy for years because I just thought I was canceled. Yeah, it was a fucked up situation, but yeah, like nothing against Looney Bin or anything, but like at the time that was the only club. So now I see Tulsa. There's multiple shows a night. Like Tulsa is booming. It's on the I
It
honestly think it's on the
is.
bubble. With Tulsa King coming out, there's a show Reservation Dogs. There's a lot of stuff in the Tulsa area that's just kind of getting more in the lexicon of pop culture. So I'm that's why I try to launch the podcast this year and stuff like that and be Tulsa based is just try to get back to this community that's really on the verge of just blowing up, I think.
Yeah, I think so because I heard that Cellar Dweller is really big
Yeah, I
down
was just
there.
there last night.
How was it?
It was pretty good. I did I'm trying out some new shit because I have a showcase show this Friday at Fresh Faces show. It's the show that Michael Patton puts on in Tulsa, and it's like all the people that are just the new faces of comedy in the area. He does it like quarterly. And you can't ask to be on. It's like one of those things where he asks other promoters and just like who they know around town, and you have to be basically what's it called?
Recommended?
Recommended. Thank you. Yeah, you have to be recommended for the show. So yeah, it's kind of like an honor thing to be on there. Like I'm really grateful to maybe I've been recommended because I've only been doing this in January and now I'm doing that. So that's this Friday, and yeah, I'm excited for that. But I did the Cellar last night to try out some of those jokes. The Cellar's a little different. The Cellar is a bar. I mean, it's a speakeasy, and you have the left side that's just people at the bar drinking, and then you have this little right side that's just booths and it's just stand-up comedians waiting to do the open mic, and then you're in the middle with just a light. So it's a really small place. It's a great environment because there's no TVs, there's no pool tables or anything like that. It's just the bar and comedians. So it's a great environment to try shit out.
I think it was Miss Kitty out of Oklahoma City. She was telling me about that. You have to go
I
down
saw
this
her
flight
there
of
2 weeks ago.
stairs to go down there.
Yeah. The worst part about it for me is I'm claustrophobic. So it's a small little place in the basement, and they have to go down those stairs. So like I can only do it in like 30-minute bursts, and then I have to like get up and go smoke or something. Just because it gets to me after a little bit. But yeah, it's a great place. It's one of my favorite open mics I've ever done. Just because of the way it's set up, and like I said, with no TVs, no pool tables, there's no distractions. It's just comedy down there.
Nice.
So it's fun. The bartenders are great. I mean, even the bartenders have sometimes done little roasts and stuff like that. And they've come over and done sets. So it's just a fun environment for comedy. I can't recommend it enough. So yeah, if you're ever free Sunday nights, I'd recommend doing the drive.
Sounds like it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it.
What's some of the spots in Wichita area that you do?
Wichita, officially for comedy, we only have the Looney Bin.
Okay.
But there's a venue that a comedian owns. It's called Borche's. He's trying to get more comedy stuff in there. I'm actually going to an open mic up there after a show. I don't remember what the guy's name is. Last name is Alton.
Okay.
But yeah, and I've had a lot of fun at the open mics there. Great environment. They have no pool tables. There is a couple of TVs, but the people there pay attention really well.
Yeah.
We also have a place called John Barleycorns. That's where the music mix mic is on Wednesday nights. They have a lot of different acts throughout the week. We had a few others, but they kind of died out on open mics, unfortunately.
It happens. I mean,
Yeah.
Open mics at bars are. I mean, not that I'm disparaging like the ones that have TVs and stuff, but like it's hard. It's a hard venue sometimes to do comedy, and also if they're not getting enough drinks out of it, sometimes they don't see the benefit of it. It's just it's a what do you call it? It's a complicated thing of it's a balancing act of making sure that the profits are there for the bar, and there's actually a good crowd that actually wants to see comedy and not just leave me alone when I'm drinking.
Right. I get that a lot when I go to the Barleycorns mic because a lot of the people are there for music or they're musicians waiting for their turn. They're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I didn't come here for this.
Yeah.
And then about 3 minutes into my set, they're like, oh my gosh, this is actually good. She's actually funny.
Yeah.
Or I'll just get the blank stares.
Yeah.
Get off the stage. You're not funny.
Yeah.
Some people think I am.
That's what I'm trying to do. Like, like I said, I'm still new to this. So like, I'm trying to develop that callus of what I know is funny and like not trying to like take it so personally if I'm not getting the laugh or anything like that. It's a learning thing. Every time you go up there, you build that.
That's the hardest thing too.
Is to keep going.
Is ignoring it.
Ignoring it. Yeah. Or and try to embrace it or just have fun with it. That's the two things I tell people like when they're on my show too. Like for me personally, just as my personal thing now, I've tried every time I go up stage to this, remember, keep the energy up like a roller coaster, like take them on a roller coaster ride. If you're gonna go low, it's intentional for your low spots. Like keep them on a roller coaster ride. But most importantly, every time I go up there and I'm about to go up, I just say have fun. If I'm having fun and I keep it fun, they're gonna have fun. That's just how I try to have it. And I have to have that drilled into my brain as I'm walking up. I'm like, have fun, have fun, have fun, have fun. Because the moment I feel like I'm not doing well or anything, they see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll eat you the fuck alive.
Oh, yeah. They can tell if you're scared. They can tell if you're not confident in yourself. It's amazing what the audience knows about you before you know about you.
Yeah, it is. It really is. A lot of us don't understand how much we, wear our heart on our sleeves, so to speak, or like you can see just our facial expressions.
Yeah.
What we're bringing up to the stage. And it's pretty transparent when there's a spotlight on you.
Yeah, very transparent.
Because we're all narcissists. I mean, we all have to be a little bit to be a comedian. And we all crave that spotlight. But then once it gets on, sometimes we forget, oh, shit, it actually is on us. So what would you like to... I heard that you are a... how do I phrase this? You are a... What do you call it? Homeschool mom.
Yes.
So...
Yes.
And I liked some of your stand-up bits about how like the crazy religious ones, and then you start going off on that. And I love that. That was really good.
Thank you.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids. I did have a teenager staying with me for a little bit. It was a weird situation, and we tried homeschooling high school, and that was my first high school dropout. Even in homeschooling, you can have dropouts. But yeah, my oldest, she actually wanted to go to public school this year, so me and my husband let her, and she came home with head lice. That
Oh
was fun.
shit!
Yeah. She decided, well, maybe homeschooling was better, Mom. You think? You think? We tried to warn you, kid.
It's funny because like I like so like I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. They're in public school right now, but like at the same time, I have a sister who is religious and has chosen to be a homeschool with her daughter, who's also 12. Like that, my daughter and her daughter are a month apart, so they're more sisters than cousins. And
Okay.
it's been kind of fascinating to see like my daughter go through public schools, and then my niece through the homeschool. But my sister is the very definition of what you talked about in your stand-up of the religious nut job. Like we don't speak anymore or anything like that. Like there's
Oh my gosh.
yeah. Once she found out I was bi, we had like a whole separation of everything. Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things. But like, not that I'm disparaging anything you do as a homeschooler. It's just more like everything you said about like the religious nut job kind of part of the
Yeah.
thing. I was like, oh, does she know my sister? I was like, oh shit. So yeah, it was very relatable.
Yeah. Well, I grew up at a Christian private school,
Yeah,
and
and I'm
my
not disparaging
family.
Christians or anything. I hope you understand.
Well, I don't even understand why my family put me in this school because they are the bipolar opposite of the typical Christian family
Yeah.
that would go through a private school. So I kind of raised my kids pretty similar to how I was raised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the Christian curriculums, but I'm not shove it down their throat. You're gonna learn this.
Yeah.
This is the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. A lot of people think that homeschoolers are just like that, and nah, we're not. We're not all like that.
No, and like I'm never gonna be the one to like just generalize anybody that does something. And honestly, I gotta say props to you because like a lot of us public schoolers tried it for that brief time during COVID, and holy shit.
Right?
Like,
We were the heroes.
yeah, I wanted to be like giving you like standing ovations outside at 7 o'clock when you're off your shift and shit like that, like the nurses and stuff. Like I felt like I needed that after like 4 hours on the fucking webcam.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't even know how public school teachers do it, man. I have a hard enough time with my
yeah,
one kid that's upstairs right now, my 8-year-old. Luckily, she's to the point where she can start teaching herself, start reading on her own.
yeah,
But I don't know how they do it with 10, 20, 30 kids in the classroom.
yeah. Like I looked out here in my Oklahoma town, like the school that my 6-year-old's at is smaller. Like they don't go over like the 20 or anything like that. So it's like 12 is like in their classroom. So it's not too bad. And like she actually has a good teacher. So like again, it's one of those things where I'm not okay. Well, where do we go on this conversation? I don't know why we're going through this shit. Anyway, I'm not like trying to like compare public to fucking private or whatever.
Right.
I don't even know where we're going with the conversation.
I don't either, but it's a fun ride.
At least we got the
I am
internet.
definitely enjoying it.
Schools are fun. But
Yes,
yeah,
they
I was
are.
gonna just say props to you because like yeah, a time during COVID where we all had to try. I was like, yeah, I understand. It's a lot of work. So you balance that comedy. What interests do you guys have? Like, what's some of your hobbies?
Well, I read a lot. I work at a library on Saturdays, and I'm always bringing home at least 5 or 6 books.
Ooh,
Where I have the time to read, I don't know, but when I'm not doing that, I play guitar, play on my bass
nice.
guitar. I used to have some drums, but money,
Yeah,
had to get rid of them.
I tried
So,
learning.
yeah.
I tried learning guitar. I was one of the nerds that like, when Guitar Hero came out and everybody was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, if you're gonna play that, you should learn the real guitar." I was like, okay. And then I bought that game Rocksmith. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I have both of them.
It's fun. It's fun as
It
hell.
is.
And that
It
I
is.
played that for about a year and I spent like $400 on fucking tracks in that fucking game.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
like I was really invested in it, and it was a great thing. Of like, I'm sure you know because you played it. Like, every time you play the song, it adds more to it and stuff like that. Like, it actually did help
It
me a
gets
lot.
harder and harder.
Yeah,
It actually gets to the point where you master the song and it takes all the notes away. And you have to play it from memory.
I didn't get from there, but like
I never got there.
I played for about a year just playing that in my off time until like I got really bored and I had to sell my guitar and shit like that. It's so like I just never have picked it up again. But like in
Yeah.
high school, I played saxophone. I've always loved music and I wanted to get into guitar and stuff. The closest I have now is my 2 shows, the podcast and the next show I'm launching, Fat Nerd News. I had to write the 2 rap theme songs.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
I am actually accredited rap lyricist, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I don't know why. Yeah. Thanks, Fiverr.
I am too if tequila's involved.
That's a great line. That's a great line. You should say that.
Thank you. I'll have to remember that.
So
It's funny you mentioned Guitar Hero because that's actually the reason I got into my guitar.
really?
My great grandpa, he saw me playing Guitar Hero. He's like, I'm gonna teach you how to play the real guitar. And I got a guitar for my birthday that year. And between him and my private school lessons, and that's how I got into it.
I always think back to I watched Metallica live at the BOK Center in like 2008, and James Hetfield was doing the song. I think it's called One. I'm not the biggest
That's my
Metallica
favorite
fan.
one.
Okay, so I'm not I love Metallica. I like them, and but like as far as like song titles, I always forget song titles and stuff like that. It's One, yes. So it starts out with his solo at the beginning, the do no 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 no, and he screws up live. Like he misses a note, and it goes, "Eek," and he goes, "Fuck," and it just keeps going. And I just laugh every time I hear that song now because it reminds me of South Park when Randy's playing Guitar Hero and he's trying to do it for real, and it's just like you hear all the missed notes and stuff, and that's all I hear every time I hear One now. Is I hear him just beep, fuck, and it's cemented to me. I love that part, and it's just like I love when rockers, he kept going. It was a great performance.
Yeah.
But I just love whenever you can hear those real mess ups and just seeing how they do it in real time too. Because I was in the pit, I was right there watching him, and it was just a great moment. And you could tell he was legit pissed off after he missed that note too. He just kept going.
Oh
through.
yeah.
Professional.
Yeah. It's funny because when the professionals mess up, nobody really notices. But when somebody like a cover artist does, oh man, they get slammed hard. They get canceled. They might as well just go hide under a rock.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing music?
I learned how to play the guitar when I was 14. I started playing it more when I was in my 20s. So probably about 10 years professionally. There's a fly in here. Random.
You sure it's not the mosquito trapped in amber from Jurassic Park?
Oh, it could be that. I don't know.
I don't know. I was just making a reference to your t-shirt.
Don't tell my husband. It's actually his.
Oh, spoiler alert.
This episode of Unloading Meat is not brought to you by a famous game like Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends. I've never played it, but boy, if they sponsor this show, I might give it a try. Hopefully. It really depends, Stefano, on what the contract says, like how long I had to play it. I've heard good things. Have you heard good things? Nobody cares about your opinion. Anyway, if you are sick of these fake ads, make sure that you reach out to people like Raid Shadow Legends and tell them to sponsor the show Unloading Meat, and they'll be replaced soon. Anyway, back to the show.
Do you guys have a band right now, or tell me about the music side?
I was in a few bands. I was in a nationally traveling band called Ridiculous Tricks for a while, and that kind of dissolved. For the past, 7 years off and on, I've been playing guitar with my church's band on Sundays. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I love, I'm not particularly religious, but I have nothing against it or anything.
Right.
But I love seeing the live band performances at churches and stuff like that. It's really cool seeing that aspect of it because I was raised Methodist and just like the old school, just not disparaging, just the different type of churches, and so that's what I was raised on. So seeing that difference, I don't know, it's pretty cool seeing that. I love seeing the live performances behind it. And honestly, too, I've gotten a lot of videography tips and stuff for this podcast from churches.
Yeah.
Like, you guys go hard when it comes to production values.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like props. Like it's just yeah, I get a lot of production value tips and tricks, live performances and stuff. Like I'm actually working on trying to launch a live venue for this, like do a live show once a month. And so yeah,
That'd be awesome.
and I want more people to, get out there, and I want to raise people up as I grow too.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun on this so far.
Yeah. Besides me talking over you, I ramble a lot. Sorry.
It's okay.
Are you a gamer at all, or?
Yeah, I play games sometimes. Right now I'm waiting on Hogwarts Legacy for PS4. They pushed the date back on us again to May. So I'm replaying all the Harry Potter games that were on the PS2 and PS1. I forgot how
Nice.
hard those were.
I love the. I don't know if you ever played the Lego ones, the Lego Harry Potter.
Yes,
It's
I
fun.
love those.
It's a lot of fun, and the details are really
It
great. Especially like
is.
go like Diagon Alley and stuff. I'm a big Harry Potter fan too.
Me too. Oh,
Like you would love. I think you and your husband would love my house. Like as far as like, I have a Star Wars kitchen. I have a Harry Potter hallway. That I'm actually eventually the idea is I'm gonna get my daughter's custom portraits done, and it's gonna be like the movable portraits. Get them in like Hogwarts robes and stuff like that, and then I'm gonna put those on the wall so as you walk by, they kind of move.
oh,
That's the idea.
nice.
And then I got all the wands. Like I'm one of those guys that like those like mystery wands they had at Walmart where you can like open it up and get a certain wand. We went to every single fucking Walmart and I got like 30 of those. Like I have the entire set. Like I have
Oh my
every
gosh.
single wand from Harry Potter. Like I go hard.
I am not allowed to buy those. I would be tempted to buy the whole shelf too, but no, my husband says, no, we can't. We got bills.
we got like 90% of them. Like we didn't really get any duplicates at our local Walmart. We did really well. And then there was like 2 we just could not find. And I was like, well, the one thing about it that people don't understand, and maybe this is just the shitty thing about it, is technically, yes, you open up the box, but it's still just a toy at Walmart. So I
Yeah.
cracked it open. I'm like, oh, I have this duplicate. I just took it back and got my money back.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big of a deal. Like, and they still sold it other, and people were like, the thing about the mystery wands is it actually is a benefit to other people collecting, because then it's back opened on the shelf, and people can be like, oh, I have that one. Oh, I don't have that one. And then they can just get it. So it
Yeah.
actually helped out the other collectors in the long run. But what I ended up doing is going like on Mercari and eBay and just finding the other random 2 and just buying them for the same price. Because people were like, oh, I have duplicates of this one. They just sell it for the same price and get their money back. So it's kind of easy to find those whole sets if you actually wanted to make the plunge. It wasn't that much cost effective. It wasn't like I was spending like $100 on just one wand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got pretty obsessed with finding those. It was fun too with the kids too. They like the scavenger hunt of kind of trying to find the wands and stuff like that too.
My kids are actually embarrassed that we're so into Harry Potter. They're like, Mom, Harry Potter sucks. No, it doesn't. I'm still waiting on my Hogwarts letter, okay?
I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy on PS5. I have that. I've been streaming it a little bit, but like I'm Ravenclaw right now, trying to go through there, and like I haven't played too much. And then I'm gonna make 2 playthroughs, one with the good guy, and then I'm gonna go full Slytherin in the other one, and just learn all the bad spells and just go full evil. It's a fun
Oh,
game.
that was my original plan right there.
Yeah, there's so much.
Just
depth
go
to it.
full on.
It's so much. There's so much to do. Like yeah, I can't recommend it enough. I can't wait for you to get it. It's fun.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. I must say, I'm in love with the room that you're in right now with all those action figures and the
thank you.
Power Rangers and the Zords.
It's called Divorce. No, it's called being trapped in your house for 2 years or whatever for COVID. Like,
And having all that stimulus money.
yeah, facts.
Yes.
No, it was just one of those things where like right before COVID, my wife at the time and me went to a vintage stock. And we saw a Power Ranger Megazord, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I had one. I never got that one as a child. I missed that one. That was my favorite, like the default classic Megazord." And it was like $60. And she's like, "You should get it." And that just started the obsession again. And then COVID hit, and I just became a toy collector and just started going nuts, buying stuff and just collecting. And that's actually how I paid the bills during COVID. Is I flipped figures.
Oh, cool.
So I made a business out of just, looking for collectibles around here, NECA, stuff like that. And on the coast during COVID, they're sold out. Targets, Walmarts, everybody's staying in, wanting that stuff. It's still rare, but it's selling out quick. But here, there was no collectors going out. So like Targets and Walmarts were just overrun with all these rare collectibles. So I was just flipping them nonstop, buying what I wanted, buying my stuff, and then I was paying for this, and then also, paying the bills. I mean, there's times I was bringing in $500 to $1,000 a month just flipping toys. And then once the stimulus money dried up from everybody, and then not the recession or whatever you want to call it now, people stopped buying toys about, I don't know, October-ish of last year. I don't know what it is, but I know Hasbro raised their prices like from $19 to $25 a piece.
Yeah,
And then
it got ridiculous.
It got ridiculous. But a lot of stuff changed, and it just became very hard to even make money on any toy. Like I'd flip it, I'd make $10, maybe. And then I gotta check shipping and all that stuff. And it just became where I was like losing money, and I had a whole warehouse of stuff here. And then I eventually just sold it to a local GameStop. Or not GameStop, but a game store that was just taking trade-ins and stuff. I was like, just get rid of this stuff. And I just got store credit. So it ended badly, but it got me through COVID. And it built the set. It helped build the set. Because that's what funded most
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. What sort of geeky stuff are you guys into? Like, I saw Jurassic Park. I love the Joe Dirt behind you.
Oh, yeah. We go.
Twister? The Twister behind you?
Yeah.
I just saw the bottom. That's how you know I'm an Okie. I just saw the bottom. The corner and then two people, and I was like, that's Twister.
Fun fact, Twister was actually filmed about 12, 15 miles away from where I live.
Nice.
Waukeeta, Oklahoma.
Nice. Yeah, like one of the newscasters, I can't remember his name, but he was like one of the Tulsa News meteorologists. He's in there as a cameo too. Mm-hmm. I remember like seeing him like every time he's on the news every like 5 days a week, and I was like, oh, that's our guy. Yeah, they're making a second one, I heard.
Yeah, they are. And every year, I think it's in September, the town of Waukeeta actually has what's called Twister Days. They have a big parade with storm chasers. Me and my best friend used to be in the parade. He was a storm chaser for about 10 years. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. They have a little museum down there. They have these plaques all around town. This is where Aunt Meg's house was. This is where Steven Spielberg built a town and destroyed it. It's pretty cool.
That movie still holds up. It's a really good movie.
It is.
I love how many big name actors are in that you don't remember? Like Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like
yep.
I know
Bill
who
Paxton.
He is. Bill Paxton. The lady that was his wife.
Wasn't one of the Hunt sisters in it?
Helen Hunt.
Was it Helen Hunt?
Yeah. Helen Hunt. Yeah. Helen Hunt was the main star. Bill Paxton, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman was the guy in the Hawaiian shirt and the long hair. Mm-hmm. His wife went on to do that show Yesty or something like that, I think. Like the one that played his wife, the brunette. Mm-hmm. She went on to do, I can't remember her name, but she was in a lot of different stuff too.
I can't remember her name either. I do have a autograph picture that I got last time I was down there from the Flashback mom, April Littlejohn Warren.
Oh, nice.
She still does a lot of stuff. She goes out to LA sometimes, I think, and she does little projects here and there. I follow her on Facebook. It's pretty neat to see what she's up to.
Nice. Hopefully they bring a lot of those people back for part 2. Like,
I hope so.
Town and stuff, because it was a big deal here in this area. Just like, they're filming a movie back then. I mean, now Oklahoma area, they're just getting a lot more movies. Like we talked about, like Reservation Dogs is here, Tulsa King, movies being shot left and right. Ben Affleck had a movie here. It's kind of blowing up in this area, but like back then, that was like what, 96, 95?
Something like that. Yeah,
it was a big deal because Oklahoma was like just truck stops and rednecks and cowboys, and I mean, it was back then. That was a lot of publicity for this small area. So yeah, it's still significant. I mean, I love the poster. I love that you have that there.
That's actually my favorite poster that we have.
Nice.
The Joe Dirt one, I think, is my husband's favorite because it says The Adventures of Joe Dirt. They changed the name, but they didn't change the posters.
Yeah.
We also have a Boondock Saints poster that I have yet to hang up. I just don't know where we're going to put it yet. And upstairs we have a glass bottle collection. My husband collects these vintage glass bottles that he finds, pill bottles.
Oh, nice.
Soda bottles. Yeah.
In my theater, like the living room, we have Forrest Gump, Beetlejuice, and then we have Avengers Endgame as the big movie posters on the back wall. And then I have, from actual movie theaters, I have, I'm a big Power Ranger fan. So when the Power Ranger movie, even though it sucked, mostly came out, I got the actual poster from the IMAX. So I have that on one of the walls. And then my prized possessions are from a closed Blockbuster. I have these like matte painting versions of movie posters, and it's for Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Ooh.
And it's another one of the 2-pack of the Grindhouse movies, so a Death Proof and Planet Terror of Quentin Tarantino.
Mhm.
And then I have another one that is V for Vendetta. And they're the movie poster, but they're done like a matte painting recreation of it. And then I have a texture into them and everything, and they're all framed. And when the local Blockbuster closed, I got them. They were actually on their walls. I got them for like $5 a piece.
Wow, that's a steal.
Yeah. And then I have another one somewhere that's a little small one, and it's the Godfather poster. And I can't find that somewhere. And then I also have a Pulp Fiction one too. But like those are all around my theater, and those are they're beautiful. They're just really cool. You can feel the texture down them. They're just a neat piece. And yeah, I can't recommend if you ever see an old Blockbuster or like look on eBay for Blockbuster posters. They're really cool. They're really, really neat posters. Because they try to make I think they're even made by NECA or something like that. But like they at the time they were like Blockbuster wanted their own versions of movie posters. So they wanted to be like textured and like just custom or whatever, their own versions.
Mhm.
So only they had these kind of type ones. And you don't have to like have a glass in front of them or anything like that. So they're great on camera because they're matte. So I mean they're just a neat thing. I'll send you a picture afterwards. They're really neat.
Cool.
I'm geeking out by on my own stuff. Sorry.
It's okay.
So you're a movie buff. Your husband's a movie buff,
Mhm.
it looks like. Favorite movie? You can pick
That
top
is
5.
so hard. Oh, that is so hard.
Okay, let's
Favorite movie of all time. Okay, it is actually a tie between 3 different movies.
Okay.
Inspector Gadget, starring Matthew Broderick and Rupert Everett.
In a million years, I would have never guessed that one, but okay, continue.
Really?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not knocking
obviously
it.
Jurassic
I'm
Park.
more in shock.
Obviously Jurassic Park. I wanted to be like Dr. Grant when I was a
Oh,
kid.
good choice. Good pick.
And I actually did take an archaeology class when I was at Wichita State, and I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't as much fun as it looked. So the professor was amazing, but yeah, just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And my other favorite movie would be Toy Story.
Ooh, yeah.
I was
Good choice.
obsessed with Woody when I was a kid. I remember one year I got Buzz Lightyear for my birthday, and I was like, I don't want this. Buzz Lightyear sucks. I want the cowboy.
I love Toy Story is a great one. I mean, I have a soft spot in my heart for any Pixar movie. Like I love, yeah, Toy Story is a
Oh,
great
me
one.
too.
From my childhood, like yeah, that's why like in my top 3 or 5 or whatever, I don't know. Lion King has to be in there for me because of the experience. Like I saw it in theaters when I was like 5, and like that movie still holds up, kind of like Toy Story, stuff like that. It's just around that time. Jurassic Park would be what there for me too, because that movie still to this day, like I remember vividly being like 5 or 6 years old, going to theaters and seeing dinosaurs for the first time on big screen, and it just to this day, like I still get chills. Like it's just
Oh, me
those
too.
cinematography, the way they did that, it still holds up. It looks like a great movie. The dinosaurs feel real. They just that
They
first
do.
shot when Alan Grant comes over to that corner and they see it in the Jeep or whatever, and just like you could feel their like wonderment, and you could feel it through the camera, and it just
Mhm.
yeah, it's amazing. I love geeking out over Jurassic Park. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. You're giving me goosebumps.
yeah. I mean, I got them too, just thinking about those scenes. Like, yeah, it's just that's the kind of shit like that made me do this stuff. Like, I don't know, it's my childhood, and those are the things that just brought me so much joy. And through COVID, through such a depressing time, I really wanted to have that shit around me of stuff that just brought me joy and just had happiness. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
me and my daughter now are watching Parks and Recreation. Uh, it's one of my all-time favorite shows. Simply because, yes, it's done by the same people that do The Office. I don't know if you've ever watched it or not.
I've watched a few episodes. I didn't really get into it too much.
It's like The Office or some other shows. It's like you have to get past season 1 because they're trying to figure out what the fuck the show is.
Right.
But once season 2 happens, it gets really good. But the main reason that me and her watch it, and she has the same reaction I do, is every episode, yes, it's funny, but it's hopeful. Like you just come out of it feeling like these guys are like it's just happy. Like you just feel a sense of just happiness after you watch the show. Like it's just a good show. It's like you can tell everybody's having fun on the set, and it's just an infectious kind of thing where everybody's doing their best because they're having fun. And I
Mhm.
love shows like that where you can tell everybody's giving their all just because they're really into it. And that's kind of where I get my stand-up comedy comes too. Like, I love listening to comedians. I love listening to people like your sets of stuff because, like, I brought up your stage presence. You could tell you're into it, and it's a huge difference. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot or make you like, like blush or anything. It's just one of those things where like you could tell the difference of people who give a shit. Is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So props to you. I round that
Thank
back
you.
from Parks to Recreation to your stand-up somehow. I'm a genius.
Thank you. You're actually not the first person to tell me that. In the last year down here in Anthony, we had a play that a bunch of the adults were in, and I was in it. It was called The Mousetrap by Agatha Christie.
Okay.
And I played this character called Casewell. It was kind of neurotic, kind of funny, but on a mission. I can't give too much away because it's an Agatha Christie play. But I was told by so many people that my stage presence was awesome and that I should do it more often, and acting and comedy is where I belong. Yeah, it's very humbling to hear people say that because honestly, I don't think I'm really that good.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give props to people who deserve it. But just seeing the clips that I've seen, yeah, you have great stage presence. Just keep at it. Like, you're doing good.
Thank
As
you.
little as that means from a guy starting out too. But yeah, it's just like that's the first thing I picked up was just your stage presence. Like you command the set, like you command the stage, and you make the whole you take up the room, and that's what's important because you're the center of attention when you have the mic, and
Yep.
it's a good thing to do. I myself struggle with it a lot, mostly because I personally, as you can tell, I grew up as a fat guy, so like I'm the fat guy that grew up always trying to make himself the smallest person in the room and like not make a big stink about himself or like don't want to be noticed in the room because I'm the big awkward guy. So I'm the guy that's always like trying to look small in the room and stuff like that. So I have to fight that completely when I'm on stage. Like I have to cut off everything that just feels normal to me and just try to be out there. And I'm never that guy that's like, "Hi, I'm Jared Ralphie Allen. Nice to meet you." But when I'm doing this business, now I have to be. So like
Yep.
I am really trying to go against type when I'm doing the stand-up stuff and just completely be different when I'm out there. And
It's funny that you said that because I was actually the same way growing up. I know it's hard telling looking at me now, but in middle school, elementary school, I was the fat kid, the poor kid that everybody picked on. And
yeah,
I just wanted to kind of blend in to the background and everybody ignored me. Don't look at me.
yeah. And that's honestly where like a lot of my shit happened during COVID. Like, like I said, I got divorced and through that thing, the marriage fell apart, and that's a whole different thing. But like through COVID, like my depression, my anxiety went out through the roof. I was scared to go out, scared of crowds. I still to this day have panic attacks with a lot of crowds sometimes. I had a panic attack on stage once. It just happened. It just things from COVID, that era that just kind of changed a lot about shit about me. And it's just shit I have to work through now. And therapy's been great. But it's just one of those things where I cope with it now. So I bring it up a lot. I used to love doing karaoke. And at the height of COVID, we tried to do karaoke, like, not height of COVID, like towards the end when it was all going back to normal.
Yeah.
The last time I tried to do karaoke, I had a panic attack just signing up because the crowds were getting big. Like I couldn't do crowds. And like I said,
wow.
I'm also claustrophobic. So like going down the cellar sometimes it can be a little thing. But I didn't know I was claustrophobic until like 2 years ago. I didn't know that was actually what it was. So I had a sleep study done because I have sleep apnea. And during that, they strapped me to the bed and they put me down. Like, I had to sleep like this. And I made it like an hour into it. I started having panic attacks and I had to call an ambulance and get like oxygen on me and shit. And they're like, "Hey, you're extremely claustrophobic." I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess there's a medical definition for it. I didn't know." But now it makes sense. So I'm trying to like be, I temper it. I try to watch for those signs on a lot of my shit. But what I was getting at is I went from that to now I do stand up. Like I just, I do smoke a little bit of weed. It helps with my nerves. But that's honestly that I use just to keep my anxiety down and I can deal with the crowds. But yeah, that's what I do. Like I came from being scared shitless to even go out to now I go up and do stand up. So
That's some good progress right there.
yeah, I mean, it's my therapy. Like honestly, everybody jokes about how like when you're on the mic, it's therapy. It really is true.
It is. It
It's so
is.
therapeutic. We're all broken.
Especially for a lot of my stories, because a lot of my stories that you haven't seen on the videos are about my crazy family growing up. And There's people that come up to me like, my family was like that too. I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one either.
Yeah. I mean, not to get dark here, but like, a lot of my comedy is dark.
Me too.
I talk about my history too. Like, I'm a bi guy. I was sexually assaulted when I was a kid. I've had 2 suicide attempts, 2 divorces. Like, I get real in my comedy with especially the podcast. I don't hide anything, but I try to find the humor in it. And there's been times where I've had promoters or somebody be like, "Hey, you shouldn't do those sexual assault jokes. Somebody might get offended." I'm like, but I was sexually assaulted. I'm telling you about my story, and it's like, fuck you. Like, I'm like, it's like, no, we're still gonna do this. Like, it's like, I gotta get through this shit, and like, I got some laughs. It's working. Like, there's a time and place. I mean, everybody can usually tell intent, and there's a way to come at it smartly. Smartly, that's not even a word. I just try to say smartly. Wow. There's a way to come at it intelligently. To where I don't think any subject is off. I don't think any subject is truly off limits as long as you hit it smart, or I did it again, intelligently. And that when it's a riskier subject, you just got to hit it right on the head. Like, you got to be perfect with it, or else you're going to risk a lot more. That's the way I look at it. But I don't try to tell anybody, don't do this joke, don't do that. Just come at it, intelligently.
Yeah.
Nailed it on the 3rd time, intelligently.
Oh no, I lost a wired headphone. If only I had a company like Raycon sponsoring today's episode. Raycon, I need headphones.
I call myself an extroverted introvert.
Extroverted introvert. I like that. That's something I'm trying to turn myself into. Like, this has been fun. Thank you for coming on. This has been fun. Hearing me ramble.
A lot of fun.
I'm
loving it because watching you talk is reminding me of me when my ADHD gets away from me.
Yeah. You can really tell when it happens.
Yep. My grandpa used to call me Hot Rod because I'd go 90-0.
Well, that's like also where this comes in. Like, whenever I have people as guests, is like, I kind of want their imaginations to go nuts, and it's kind of like explosion of stuff behind them, and they're looking at all this stuff, and they're having a drink, and they're smoking, they're having a beer. I'm trying to give them as much distraction to where they're not looking at the cameras and the lights and worried about their performance. So it works. Yeah. It usually works because people are just like looking around, having a good time, and they completely forget that they're on camera. And so
yeah, I caught myself looking at the background quite a bit.
Yeah, and everything I try to do is intentional on this for this shit. Besides just making an excuse for me to spend a shitload of money on toys. It's totally intentional. It's meta. What are you talking about? So what shows do you got coming up? Do you have anything in May, or do you have anything?
In June, I believe it's June 10th, I will be at a place called Barcode in Wichita, Kansas.
Nice.
With about, I think they have 10 other acts, 10 other comedians on the lineup. It'll be a great night. A lot of great locals are going to be on it, including yours truly.
Nice. Well, Dani L, thank you so much for being on. Where can everybody find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, all under Dani L Comedy.
Nice.
And that's Dani with an I, DANI, capital L dot.
Nice. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on UnloadingMeat. It's been a pleasure. You're my 3rd web interview, so I've been trying to improve the set, trying to improve the quality of it every time. And like I said, I love the different challenges of interviewing somebody via the web versus being in person. It's a different aspect of different, different muscle I got to flex. So thank you for the opportunity. And I truly appreciate this conversation. It's been fun. I will try to get out to the Wichita area and see you guys out there. And anytime you're in Tulsa, come down here, hang out. I'd love to have you in the studio for season 2. Okay. And we'll figure it out. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. And thanks for having me on. I had a great time.
Thank you so much. Guys, this has been UnloadingMeat. I'm Jared Ralphie Allen. That's Dani L. Take care. Peace. Unloading the meat.